Hi, Algebra 2. We're going to look at a second method for dividing polynomials called synthetic division. If you're still having trouble with long division, it really kind of goes away after we quiz and test. Like, we'll have a quiz coming up sometime next week once I figure out what I'm going to use. Synthetic division is one of the topics that will be with us for the entire school year. So you're going to kind of want to make sure you get this because you will use it again. All right, for time's sake, we're not doing the review problems because you've already spent a couple of days doing long division, and then I'll end up addressing some of the things that I'm seeing during the Zoom session. All right, so for synthetic division, before you even start, you have to keep two things for sure in mind. One is that here there's a coefficient of 1. Okay, and you still have to look for missing terms. Okay, all right, so before I even do synthetic, I would look for missing terms. We got 3, we got 2, we got 1, we got 0. We're good to go there. We're also good in the fact that we have a coefficient of 1. All right. So you're not going to have to do this every time. There's a reason why. I'm not going to tell you why it ends up being an opposite sign, but if you pretend that this is set equal to 0 and solve this equation, you get x equals -1. Okay, so rule of thumb, as long as there's no coefficient of 1 there, it's the opposite sign of whatever's in that quantity. So here's how synthetic works. So you're going to draw a little half box, and we're going to put that -1 in. And then what you're going to do is you're simply going to bring down your coefficients. Okay, and then where that last number is at, you're going to draw a line straight down, and then you're going to draw another line like so. Okay, I know it's weird, but it's way easier than long division. So in your first step, what you're simply going to do is you're just going to bring down the 2. Okay, from here, what you do is you go -1 times 2 gives you a -2. You bring it up to the next spot, and then you're going to add the two numbers together. So 1 plus a -2 gives you a -1, or 1 minus 2 is -1. Then what you're going to do is, again, you're going to go -1 times -1 is going to give you a +1. So it's multiply diagonally and add straight down. I don't want to add in an arrow in that column because it'll be too hard to erase. So -2 plus 1 gives you a -1. And then again, -1 times -1 is a +1. Okay, and then we're going to add, so 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, now if you get a number left over here, this is your remainder. Okay, and then when you go to write your answers, you're just going to use the stuff that you have here. Okay, so since it starts as a degree 3, our answer will be 1 power less. So we have 2x squared minus 1x minus 1, and then we got to write our remainder. So it's going to be +4 over x plus 1. Okay. Now, I don't anticipate that you're going to get that one right off one example, so we're going to keep going here. All right, if you look at 4, okay, we got a coefficient of 1, okay, and then we got 4, 3, 2, we don't have 1. So we're, in this problem, we're missing 0A. All right, so we have to account for that when we fill in. All right, so on this part, I know what's going to go into the box is a -1, and it's not going to be -1 every single time. So we have a 1, we have a -5, we have a -13. Okay, I'm missing the A, so I have to put a 0 in there, and then I have my 10. And then since that's the last number, I can draw in the rest. Okay, so again, basically what you're going to do is you're going to drop that first number down and then begin this process of -1 times 1 is a -1, -5 minus 1 or plus a -1 is going to give me a -6. So it's multiply diagonally, add straight down. Okay, now I'm going to do -1 times -6, which is going to give me a +6, and then I'm going to add straight down. So -13 plus 6 is going to end up giving me a -7, and then -1 times -7 gives me a +7. Okay, add straight down. 0 plus 7 is 7, and then my last calculation is going to be -1 times 7, which is going to give me a -7, and then add straight down, or in this case just subtract. So 10 minus 7 is going to give me 3. Okay, and again, since we started off with a degree of 4, okay, when you go to write your answer, you're going to start off with a cubed minus 6a squared minus 7a plus 7, and then we have a remainder of plus 3 over what we were dividing by, a plus 1. If you get a 0 there, life is good. You don't have a remainder. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right, so for 5, okay, again, what you need to do is check a couple of things. So I got a coefficient of 1 there. I'm good to go. But then if you notice, 3, 2, 1, 0, we're good to go there. We don't have any missing terms. So the most common mistake, okay, is that people will forget about looking for missing terms. Okay, so since this is x minus 2, I know it's going to be a +2 that goes into the box. Okay, and then I can bring down my coefficients. So I got a 5, I got a -13, I got a 10, I got a -8, then I draw in my 2 other lines. We drop down the 5, okay, so you do 2 times 5, which is going to give you 10. All right, -13 plus 10 is going to give you a -3. We do 2 times -3, which is -6. 10 minus 6 is going to give me 4. We do 2 times 4, which is going to give us 8. And then 8 minus 8 gives us 0. Okay, so here we have a situation where there's no remainder. Okay, which is a little bit easier because you don't have to remember to write that gobbledygook at the end. All right, so since this started off as a degree 3, okay, when we go to write our answer, and again, you're using the stuff right here, it's going to be 5x squared minus 3x plus 4, and we have no remainder. Okay, all right, so we'll do one now kind of where we have missing terms and we have a coefficient other than 1. All right, and then that'll round out today's lesson because this video is running a little bit long. All right, so as you can see, we have a 2x there. Okay, so in order to take care of it when you don't have a coefficient of 1, okay, you got to start the problem with dividing through everything to get rid of that. Okay, all right, so that's going to leave us with 2x cubed plus 4x squared plus 6 divided by x plus 2. Okay, so it makes it smaller and easier to work with. Okay, so I know from this I'm going to get a -2. Okay, so in my little box I have a little -2. All right, and then I can bring down my 2, I can bring down my 4. We're missing the x, so I have to represent that with 0. Okay, and then I got to bring down my 6, and then I'm ready to go for synthetic. So I bring down my 2, a -2 times 2 is a -4. Okay, 4 minus 4 is 0. -2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is going to give me 0. And then -2 times 0 is 0. 6 plus 0 is 6. And then you're ready to kind of write your answer here. All right, so again, since we started with a degree of 3, I have 2x squared plus 0x plus 0, okay, plus 6 over x plus 2. All right, now they're going to do a couple of things here. Okay, one thing that they're going to do is in the final answer, if you have a 0x and a 0, they're not even going to include it, and then it's going to be plus 6 over, and what they're going to do is they're going to multiply back in the 2 that we divided by. Okay, and your remainder is going to revert back to 2x plus 4. Okay, we're going to work on synthetic for a day or two extra, so if you don't get it right out of the gate, not a problem, but you have to learn it because we will be using it again. Sorry the video is long. that's just the nature of some of this stuff. I can't